Officials and advocates continue to raise awareness about the dangers of human trafficking as January is National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month. I spoke with Jaco Booyens, the founder of ShareTogetherNow.org, who discussed his campaign and what needs to happen to combat this epidemic. Take a look. Tell us more about your organization and how it works to combat this epidemic.
Stephanie, thank you. Thank you for having us on and talking about this really prevalent issue. It is an epidemic, and you accurately state that. And yes, Ilanka, my sister, was trafficked for 6 years. So as a family, we were thrown into this with her, fighting just to get a sister back. ShareTogetherNow.org fights for all American children, and our critical focus is the U.S. We have done work in 56 countries around the world. But around 2015, we said, look, the American child, we feel, needs more attention and was forgotten. And it's an epidemic. It's literally in every single zip code. We are involved in rescue efforts, and then the real tough work is the re-entry, the rehabilitation and restoration of these children, predominantly girls, but also boys, back into society, and not just having them function, but catapulting them from being a victim all the way to becoming a leader in society again, which is hard work.
Who are the victims of human trafficking in our communities, and which communities are the most affected?
In the old days, we'd say there's that one area in town that we know was the red light district, and some of that still exists today, but we've come a long way where this crime has now infiltrated suburbia. It's in our communities, it's in our schools. As I said earlier, it's in every zip code. And the victim today, the potential victim today, yes, is still the runaway, the foster child, the child in CPS at the moment. But now the epidemic has spread into the softest target today in America is actually the child that lives at home with two parents, that has no radar, that is oversharing everything on social media, that is making it so easy for these profilers to target a child and then coerce them online, sweet talk them, getting in there and playing to their insecurities. I always say this: if I know, or any of these perpetrators know, what your greatest desire and your greatest insecurity is, they can manipulate you.
What can lawmakers do to address this issue?
Certain things that absolutely has to happen. We have to start putting pressure, and we cannot federally regulate this, but we have to start putting pressure on these, social media companies that absolutely are complicit, 100%. I mean, when I can find, pornography on YouTube in 15 seconds, this is how these profilers also desensitize the children. This is how they groom them. They'll start with pornography. They'll push porn out to them, sexting online. We have to start taking accountability in these major corporations of holding ourselves accountable, saying, okay, we got to protect children. Secondly, we have to make it easier for law enforcement to do their job. There's a thing called a UCR code. It's a 1091, or it's a drive-by shooting, or it's an armed robbery. There's a code. It's called a UCR code. Do you know that we do not have a designated UCR code for sex trafficking? We have a UCR code for prostitution, but that's a big problem, because if that child is rescued today and it's logged in the system, the judicial system, as a prostitution case, down the line when we want to prosecute, it harms the case significantly. So something as simple as federally just saying we're going to designate a UCR code for police officers, that if it's a minor, it's accurately logged in the system. So when the defense team and the prosecution team comes to court, it's always been a sex trafficking case. It was never a prostitution case, because there's a big discrepancy in the law between sex trafficking and prostitution.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.